Australia.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm lovely as usual. How's my little koala from down under?
Well, your collar's a bit tired, hasn't had enough sleep, but it's okay. It's okay. And I miss seeing you. It's been over a week.
Yeah, we're going to have to see each other pretty
I,
soon.
I,
We need
I
to
might have to
make
come
some
and see you in
plans.
person.
Okay. Come on. Come
Okay,
on to Texas. It's nice
I'm
and
coming.
warm.
I'm coming.
You know what?
Ex
Speaking of warm, we're not going somewhere warm today.
No, I'm feeling cold just thinking about where this
I know.
lovely iridologist is from.
I
But I'd
know.
love to go there. I would
Okay.
love to go there.
Tell us where we're
Come on
going.
down, Michelle. We've got Michelle from Nova Scotia, where it's snowing
Awesome.
outside and there's 25 mils of snow coming.
Michelle, where are
Michelle,
you?
I'm
open your
right
There
here.
you are.
story. How
I
exciting.
Awesome. Awesome.
Look at me with my t-shirt on at 6 a.m. and Michelle's
Me
got a
oh,
too.
lovely jumper on.
Me too.
uh, I have a big sweater. It's kind of cool out there. It's not
Yeah.
shorts and t-shirt weather here.
It is
It'll be
here.
another few months.
Yeah. Houston,
Yeah.
Texas is
Awesome.
warm and sunny and breezy and about 80 degrees today.
Then
Fahrenheit.
take advantage of that sun and enjoy. Have some
Absolutely.
fresh lettuce and oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, welcome,
Great.
Michelle. It's lovely to have you
Thank
with
you.
us.
Yes.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, Chris, you want to start us off?
Sure. So, Michelle, we'd like to know how long you've been an iridologist for.
I've been an iridologist since 2005. I started studying with David Pesic and his wife in Toronto in 2003. I was attending the Institute of Holistic Nutrition in Toronto, and David Pesic was there, and him and his wife were so inspirational, and they were teaching this really interesting course. And I'd always been fascinated with the eyes. I knew that they could be read somehow. I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, you know what? I'm right here. I have to take advantage of this course. So um, I enrolled and I was so overwhelmed that I got my first camera. It was just a little tiny iriscope
Mhm.
that I held up to the eye, and it gave these fabulous pictures. And I continued my iridology studies. I was certified with David Pesic with actually level 1, 2, and 3 in holistic iridology, and it was very, very overwhelming at the time because it wasn't just the physical body, it was of the spiritual being, and you could read certain characteristics in the eye that there was just, it was very overwhelming at the time. So I continued my studies in iridology. One of my nutritional teachers also practiced iridology and taught Bernard Jensen style. And I enrolled in his course back in 2006. It was iridology in clinical practice, and it was finding the root cause of your unwell state of being. And he would take a picture of the iris of the eye, and he was also a very inspirational teacher as well. And the connection with nutrition and iridology and herbs just was grew with me. So I just felt the strong connection that this was, my calling, my passion, and I continued my studies for quite some time. Um, I graduated as a certified nutritionist, and I studied herbology with a medical herbalist, and I got a few more certifications along the way. I decided to step out of transportation where I had worked at that time in Ontario, and I had a nice small practice. I'd moved out of the big city, so I was out in a lot of green space and the water. had the view of the water and the iridology. Everyone at that time was really fascinated with it, of course. And I had a strong calling to come home to Nova Scotia because this is where I'm from, and a lot of my family has come back home here, and my parents are here, so I came home to continue my practice and studies at that time. But life was changing drastically. There was a lot of things at play. So I didn't actually open the practice right away, but I did continue my studies and saw clients more on a very quiet level. And actually had met Judith Cobb. So that was perfect timing because I needed a more in-depth study with iridology because there was a lot of things, changes taking place, more advancements with iridology, and I felt I needed to stay right with
Fantastic.
yes.
So Michelle, how did you get involved in iridology? Was it someone or something that got you into iridology?
Oh, well, my teachers, of course, David Pesic, Darko Pierce, Judith Cobb, and all of you when I was introduced to IFA and all the practitioners and teachers here with iridology. I continue to be inspired and overwhelmed. I take just about every course, seminar, webinar I can, and I've gathered so much information. My practice is full. I would be sitting over at my office right now, but it's really full. And I'm in transition. I've just had a house built where I want to move, and the office right now is under construction. I'm only continuing my studies at this time during COVID, as COVID kind of flattened things out for a little while. So I still continue my studies, and I look forward actually to level 3 with IPA. That's
Good.
really important. Yes.
Hey,
We
Yes.
might be your teacher someday.
Yes.
Again.
Okay. So
that's great. Yeah.
I believe a lot of people are inspired by iridology. They want to know because they know that, the body does show, what we're made of, where we come from, and, why we think certain ways and do certain things and react to food certain ways. It's, a lot of that can be understood by, what we see in the eyes as iridologists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating. It's a very strong part of the nutritional practice because, it gives you that much more confirmation with, what they're telling you, their genetic background and, their state of health at that moment. So.
Great. And out of all the study that you've done, it sounds like you've done a lot of study, but out of all the study, what's your favorite iris sign?
I've been thinking about that, and there's so many. I need to relook Rayid iridology and that, but I'm fascinated with the contraction furrows and which organs they pass through. I'm in the midst of what's called a nutrient scent test. I have my certification there, but I've involved in further studies there with allergies to anything like chemicals, foods, could be anything. Yeah. And the energetic imbalances, and also what you can see in the eye, and especially in the brain flare areas. So I'm not sure what all to say at this moment, but I feel it's very fascinating. I hope one day soon to share it. I share it with you. So
do you have contraction furrows yourself?
I do, yes. I have quite a few. I'm very high strung. It's hard for me to sit down in front of the computer and study, but I'm outside person. I'm very energetic. My days are full. My days are very full.
I like to think of
Um,
them as rings of accomplishment, and you've accomplished a lot of stuff.
I
Absolutely.
have, and I need to calm down and
So,
yes.
Michelle, I don't know if you've seen our past broadcasts that we've done, but we play a little game
Okay.
where we throw a question at you. So if you'll pick a number between 1 and 36, I'm going to pull a question, and we're just going
Okay.
to see how you'd answer it.
Okay. I'm going to pick the number 22. I
That's
was
my
born
favorite
on the
number. That's my favorite number.
Is it?
It is one of my favorite numbers.
Man,
Yes.
it is my
Yeah.
number.
I was born on the 22nd, so
Me too. Me too. Of what? 22nd of what?
October.
June here.
Woo!
I'm a summer baby.
Yes, you are.
I'm a winter baby in Australia. So,
Yes, I was going to
Yes.
say that's not summer
Yes.
here.
well, here's your question.
Okay.
I have a client who has Addison's disease.
Okay.
So we know that Addison's disease affects the adrenal glands. He
Yes.
constantly drinks soda, Diet Mountain Dew, to be exact. He is always asking me questions about how to feel better and help his body, but he refuses to give up the soda. What can I tell him, or how do I help him?
Well, I mean, we don't want to say all bad, but in this case, we need to talk about the stresses on the adrenals and what happens long term. It's quite serious. And if it's not supported and try to support your weakness there, it can really be detrimental. So we need to stress how bad the caffeine and other parts of the pop. It's hard. You need a crutch. You need something to fall back on. In this case, a weaning down process might be beneficial. Weaning down also by diluting the pop with either a carbonated water. I know it's not the greatest, but dilute that caffeine and the sugar,
Right.
and make some goals. You only have so much for a certain amount of time, and find a substitute, something that
Exactly.
is supporting what it's doing for you, like the refreshment,
Right.
how it's fulfilling you. So there's choices, and there's herbs that help there, and nutritional support as well, both for caffeine withdrawal and sugar withdrawal. So
Perfect.
and we look at the lifestyle as well.
Yep.
And if maybe there's a few changes we can do there, and the body might respond a little bit differently.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And sometimes change routines helps to eliminate dependencies on drugs, as
Right.
caffeine, but it's a
Right.
drug.
It is. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Chris, what would you do?
Well, you know what? I really, as someone that doesn't drink soda ever, I struggle with this one, and I'm kind of a really non-judgmental practitioner. Like, people tell me what they do and what they eat, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I really struggle with diet drinks, and I usually say to them, I want you to, like, there was a guy the other day. I said, I want you to stop having Diet Coke because of the aspartame. I think aspartame's really dangerous. I mean, you can Google the effects of aspartame. It's just terribly dangerous. It's banned in some countries. And I just tell them that. And I say, I'd want you to stop using that and use Coke. Like, rather than say, I want you to stop it. And they're like, oh. And usually they say, but I'll get fat. And I'm like, well, and I'll give them a bit of a lesson about, the pancreas and diet drinks. But usually I say, I want you to stop using that and use the real stuff, not the diet stuff. And usually that has a bit of an impact. But I remember this one guy who had 2 liters of what well, I don't know how much trilla is in your weird American language, but lots of pints, like probably like 4 pints of diet drink, of Diet Coke. And I said to him, I don't know why I said this, but I said to him, I'd rather you start smoking. And he stopped that day.
Wow.
He said that had such a big effect on me, and I didn't know how bad it was, because I really feel aspartame is terribly toxic. Aspartame is the actual sugar substitute that they put in diet drinks. It's
Yeah, and you're
95.
trying to say aspartame, right?
That, yes, a neurotoxin. It's terrible.
Either way you say it, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
And it really
Well,
does a number on the
And
mind.
they've known it for a long time.
sure.
Like I remember, like I'm in my 50s and I was a little girl, and my dad said, you know, don't drink diet pop. It's not good for the brain and
Yeah.
Right.
can cause
Right.
problems and stuff. So
Yeah.
to have it still out in mainstream food chain today
Right.
is
Yeah. Oh,
terrible.
totally.
Yeah.
And this particular guy that I'm thinking of still doesn't have it.
Oh,
Really. That's
Yeah.
great.
And isn't it interesting? He stopped Diet Coke and he lost about 30 kilos.
Isn't that something?
wow. There you go.
There's
Yeah.
not a diet drink on the planet with fizzy bubbles in it that has made people lose weight. So
No.
Not at all.
no, not at all.
What about you, Kathy?
The pancreas still reacts. Well, you know what? I'm like you. I would approach them like that, Chris, and I would say, you know, I just as soon you drink the regular stuff as opposed to the diet stuff, because I do feel that way about the diet product as well. But at the same time, I would be pushing pantothenic acid and say, here, support your adrenals, support your adrenals, support your adrenals, feed your adrenals, give your adrenals the nutrition that they need, and you're not going to be looking for that caffeine fix. You know, you're going to actually strengthen a weakened area, and you're not going to have a taste for it very much longer. You know, and I would probably incorporate something like cinnamon to help turn off that sugar craving that they need. I would also import, you know, like the herb, maybe some ashwagandha or some something to support them if they have nervousness, or they need to just come to calm, come to center with an herb. I would look for that. But the first thing I'm going to pantothenic acid every time. I absolutely believe in the power of pantothenic acid, and I love adrenal support. I have adrenal support products through Standard Process, and I would put them on something to help their adrenals. Now,
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
going to help cut off one and hope increase another. So that's where I would go with it.
Yeah.
One nutrient I found that really helps with the sugar cravings, and a lot of other things like sleeping and depression and stuff, is the 5-HTP.
Oh yeah.
Nutritional supplement that you can buy in most health food stores.
And the way that you're going to find the best product for your client is to look at their eyes.
That's right.
Anybody can walk in with this question and say, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, we can throw this at it. We can throw that at it. We can throw this. And we are just throwing darts at the board. We don't know what they're hitting on. Maybe they will hit and do some good. But if you really want to hone it down, you really want to get down to brass tacks, to the nuts and bolts of it, look at the eyes. The eyes will tell you where to go. Case closed. There we go. Yay!
There we go.
We helped someone else.
Great interview. It was so lovely to meet you, Michelle.
Absolutely. We've enjoyed this. Thank you for coming on our
Thank you for having
show.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm going to come and visit Nova Scotia one day. I've always wanted to.
Oh, please.
I love Canada. Absolutely love Canada.
Please take him on a tour.
Oh, for sure. Come in the summer. The shores are nice. The ocean is warm enough to swim in.
That is beautiful.
Oh,
Thanks, Michelle.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Love Iridology. Take care.